All right, guys, thank you so much for hopping on our monthly team call. Today, we're going to be talking about organization, definitely focusing on Asana. I've been hearing, from a ton of other coaches. Raina Odell is one who uses Asana, and she said it's just made her life a lot easier. Now, I went on and looked at it for like 2 seconds, and I was like, oh, I don't even know how to organize this, so I'm not going to use it. But then when Megan came to me and said, she's one of my top coaches, and she's like, you know what, this is making my life so much easier. And she has a young child, so I was thinking, a lot of us have very young children on this team, and she said, you know what, this is something that's going to make my life easier and making sure everyone's muted. So I'd love to share it with the team. And so I want to just make sure that you guys all have notes, a piece of paper that you can take notes. I have my piece of paper right here, and I'm going to hand it over to Megan so we can learn how to be organized, because I am not organized. So I'll hush up and I'll let you take it over.
Well, hey guys, I'm Megan Curreton. So I'm, like Meg said, one of her coaches, and I am one of the least organized people ever. Like, organization is super important to me, but I start with some sort of system and I put all of my time and effort into that system, and then I don't use it. And then by the time I get back to that system, I've forgotten everything about it. So I don't know if anyone relates to that. So I've probably gone through 4 or 5 different systems. I've tried Google Drive, I've tried Docs, I've tried all of the different systems that they have out there, Google spreadsheets, different things, and nothing really clicked with me. So this is just something that worked for me personally, and hopefully my experience, I can share with you how I use it for Beachbody specifically, but you can also use it for your personal life. So I made a little PowerPoint, and what I want you guys to do is, as I go through what I use Asana for, if there's something I don't mention and you want me to show you a specific thing that I track, please type it in the chat box or whatever, and I'll make sure that if it's something that I know how to do, I can share that with you before the call is over. So I'm going to screen share, I guess. So this is going to be exciting. Hold on. Okay. So can you all see my screen? Hello? Meg? Yes. Okay. So get your Asana organized. So you guys all know that we have our main 3 vital behaviors, right? So we invite, we are proof the products work, we work on our personal development, and I guess they've added now recognize as our 4th vital behavior. So within each of these, there's different things that I track personally. So as far as inviting goes, I have to be aware of who I'm inviting, and not just who they are, but what am I actually inviting them to? Am I inviting them to a free group? Am I inviting them to a challenge group? Have we already had a conversation and they've told me no? Did they give me a specific time to follow up and I didn't write it down, or I didn't put it in a calendar and I have no idea who is where in this situation without looking each person up by name? So those are some of the things that I'll track as far as inviting people either to the opportunity or to a group. Being proof the products work. I did the Master's Hammer and Chisel from January to March, and I lost my before measurements. So I went to go show these pictures that were amazing, and I have no idea how many inches I lost, which it was a gajillion. It was an amazing change, and I have no numbers to show for that. So within Asana, I've actually tracked my own personal records, my husband's records, and you can do this for your challengers. I know we have the app, but if you're not using the app, there's a way to track all your things in here as well. Personal development, I've seen about 100 different lists of books that I want to read, and then when it's time for me to pick a new book, I don't know where that list is. So I have a personal development section within Asana that tells me what I've already read. I can take notes within each of those books so that things that really stuck out to me or quotes that I want to use for later I can track. And different things that I want to read for the future, I can categorize them by whether it's a professional development or an emotional development or whatever I need at the time. And then lastly, recognizing, same for tracking myself. I want to track my coaches, not only their stats if they're in one of my groups, but I want to know if they're at 2 coaches and it's time to celebrate them for Emerald, if they're close to Diamond, or maybe big goals that they've hit in their process so that I can recognize them publicly. So those are just some of the things within our 3 vital behaviors that we have to keep track of. It's way more than just 3 little things. So it's a whole lot of things within those 3 things. So who exactly am I tracking as far as people goes? Within my power of 3s is usually where I'm finding these people. So I'm either tracking the new people I've added to my network, which is something that I should do every day. And that's probably why I'm better at being organized than I am at doing these actual steps. But we're going to talk about ways to make it so easy to keep track of. The new leads that I got from Success Club 5 or 10, I went through when I was setting up Asana, and I printed up a report of all my customers, and I can't tell you how many I didn't know I had. So then I've never reached out to them via email because I missed them in the process in like October. And here it is March, and I'm sending them their first email because I didn't have a system in place. So we'll talk about how to keep track of your leads. The people that I'm having current forming conversations with, I've already talked to them. They're new to my network, but we haven't maybe broken that ice into Beachbody specifically. I have a category for them. People who I have spoken to, but they're interested, but they're not committed yet. They're their own section. People who have maybe joined a free group of mine, but haven't yet joined a paid group or a challenge group. And then, of course, your customers and your coaches. So these are all, to me, they were just separate lists in separate places that didn't have any connection. If I had to follow up with someone and I used Excel, I typed in that I had to follow up with them, but nothing from Excel told me, oh, hey, by the way, here's the date that you're supposed to follow up with them. I had to scroll through my list to find them. So unless you're good at that and checking in with that every day, this made it very simple for me by setting alarms. So I'm going to actually, once I'm done with this, move into Asana and show you each of these steps. But just to cover, who we're looking at. And then what do we track that's not a person? So I talked about personal development, maybe notes. Meg is great at providing templates for all of her free groups, challenge groups, whatever groups. And they're in her Google Docs. And sometimes I download that into mine. And then again, like I'm organized, but I still can't find it when I need it. Or if I'm on my mobile phone, that's way harder to find things through Google Drive as well. Scripts for conversations or for invitations or like my email template for those leads that I was talking about. You can store all of these things in one place so that you can just copy paste and then change what you need to change. I also store in here pictures or motivational quotes that I find during my scroll on the newsfeed. I can't post all 15 of them at the same time. You want to save them for a later date. So I save some of those things that were meaningful to me that I want to post later within their own category. The groups that I use, like my hydration group, my clean eating group, my challenge group, I have some posts that are successful that I want to use every time. And I want the picture that I used with that. And I want the text that I used with that so that if it's Monday morning at 7 a.m. and I haven't posted something, I can just copy and paste into the challenge group. So same thing, just kind of et cetera, et cetera. Social media posts that maybe are great ideas for later. You don't want to post them all now. You can save them. Your own measurements and photos. To-do lists are their own category. So I have a to-do list that's a mile long. And if I don't actually look at it and check things off, I won't see it. And then my favorite thing about Asana right now is like my affirmations. So I had them on a whiteboard. But if you don't check in with these things, it's maybe not a thing that you think you go through one by one. So you can set up Asana to have that remind you every single day to say those affirmations. So I think with that, we talked about some other tracking methods. The only thing on this list that I have not tried myself is Teamsy, which I've heard is very similar to Asana. And part of both of their appeals is that you can have your own organization system, but then if you have a downline or you have a company, other people can log in and check into things. So there's ways that you can make certain things only available to you and certain things available to a team. So I'll show you that with Asana. Teamsy is the only other one I know about. But all of these didn't work for me. So if they work for you, all I can say is, and all that I've heard from other coaches is once you do find something, just stay with it. Don't skip around and try all these different things if what you're doing is working. So I found Asana because these were not working. So Asana, you can track. This is what they're called. So they're called projects, sections, and tasks. And then you can use a calendar. And within that, I've turned that into everything very Beachbody specific. So I'm going to open up Asana itself, which it's just a website. So it's not an application that's taking space on my computer. So let's see. I'm going to maximize this screen. And you're all still seeing my screen, yes? Okay, so this is what happens when I open up Asana. It tells me what my tasks are for the day. And in this view, it's in by incomplete, like things I have not done yet. I like to change this view by clicking on it and do tasks by due date, and it will tell me by what's due now and what's due in the future where I'm at. So anything that's due today, I have a person in Asana named Julie, and I'm supposed to send her an email on April 12th. So you can tell that if you're not using this, it's still a thing. Like, just because it's great at organizing, if you're not checking in with it every day, it's not going to do your work for you. So these are people that you either want to send an email, you can make little tasks within a person. So I'll get to all of that in a second. I want to go back to basically my PowerPoint. So who are you tracking? So my main group of people that I was tracking to start with are people that maybe I added to my network. So over on this left-hand side here, you've got all of these things that are called projects. And a project, if you've ever used something like OneNote, is basically like a big folder or a big notebook. So you can at any time create a project. And the project that I created, I've titled it New Friends. So these are people that I've added to my network that have accepted my friend request. Like, I'm not just tracking people that may or may not ever accept a request. As soon as they've clicked accept request or we've made our first connection somehow, they go on my new friends list. So I'm going to click on my new friends. And you can see I just have them listed all by name. And I have way more than this, but this is just what I've entered at this point in time. So within a person, I'm just going to enter their name. So, for example, Amanda is a friend that I met from Pinterest. So I'm going to click on Amanda. And over on this side, you can just enter all the information that you have about them. And what I like about this, I hope you can see my mouse, but I'm going to scroll down below all of this information. You can see when I've created that person's account, created task. You can see when I've kind of changed their tags. I've added her to my form section, or I've added her, she's a 21-day fix user, or I've added her to a free group. And that's automatic. You don't have to track. So a lot of times I'll put in Google Documents form, but I didn't put what date we were talking. I didn't put when it's the appropriate time to follow up. So Asana does that for you. Anytime you make a change to this, no matter what change you're making, they will track the date for you so you can see exactly when you're making changes. Within this person, you can see up at the top they have all of these categories. So the tag is just like on Facebook, you can tag them, or just like Instagram, I guess it's like a hashtag. So down here, she is not my personal customer, but she already had the 21-day fix. So I've tagged her with 21-day fix so that when I'm talking to her, I know what program she's using. What stage of the game are we in? We were in form and conversation, getting to know each other. And then most recently, she joined one of my free groups. She's in my hydration group. So obviously, I've checked in with her. You know, she already owns 21-day fix, but she has no coach. So I'm talking to her because in the future, she may want to go somewhere from there. So I've put these 3 tags with her. And you can do that with all of your customers with any tags you create them. When you are searching for people and you don't remember what stage of the game they're at, you can simply search for people that were in your free group, and you can search for that tag, and it will pull up all of those people that have ever participated in a free group that you've tagged with that. So as long as you're using your tags in a way that makes sense to you, then you can find people really quickly. When it's April 29th and it's time to message everybody that you possibly could be talking to, you can tag them in a certain way that you're already at a certain stage in the game. It's appropriate now for you to be talking to them versus someone that you just maybe met yesterday. So that's tagging. But say I want to check in with her. I haven't talked to her in a while. You can click due date up here. So you just click that date and say I want to follow up with her Wednesday. You just click that date, and she's now on my to-do list for Wednesday. It's just going to show up with her name. If that is not, I guess, enough detail, like if her name pops up and you're like, oh, why is her name here? There's this little sub-task button that you can click, and you can say, send follow-up. We're Facebook friends, so Facebook message. And then you can give that a due date instead, so it will come up with specifically what you need to do with that person. So depending on how much, like especially Meg, you've got hundreds of people you're talking to, seeing a name may not jog your memory if you've just put these little notes. So exactly why are you going to follow up with them? You would just put that due date. And that subtask shows up in your to-do list instead of just a name. And then this little person here, it says assign. You have to assign this to yourself or it doesn't show up on your to-do list. So I'm going to click it. I'm the only person on my team, so it's obviously me, and it just puts my little face here. But if you have an assistant and you need your assistant to do something, you can have them be within your Asana and you assign that task to them. So if there's certain things that Kirk does for you, you're assigning all of those tasks to Kirk. He logs in under the same account. He doesn't have to have a separate account, and he sees what his jobs are, and you see what your jobs are, or you see what your assistant's jobs are, or your downline's jobs, so et cetera, et cetera. So if you don't put that task, it won't show up on your main page. That was something that took me a couple days of like, oh, I've entered all these to-do lists, like nothing's showing up on my task list. So you have to assign it. And then you can have comments. So I have all these comments about my person. If I have things I want to remember to include in that follow-up message, you have subtask comments, and you can put in more data about what exactly you want to include in that message. So you can be super specific without taking up row after row or column after column in Google Docs or in Excel. So that's people. So that's like a free person. I want to go to a different project. So if you come back over to the left, those are my new friends. I did the same thing with my leads, my free leads that I got from Success Club. Each one of them I've tagged with Success Club lead, so I remember why I know them. I've tagged if they are a club member, if they signed up for the subscription. I tagged if they were a Shakeology user, if it was a free Shakeology lead. Some people, a lot of my free leads like just signed up for the 30-day Beachbody On Demand. So just little tabs, like as you're going through your customers, like what is it about them that you want to follow up with them so that it's not a huge question. But each one of them I'll open up, and I tracked when they joined. I've put their email so that I don't have to go back into my back office. I just click, send them an email, I'm off and done. And you can see down here all the different changes I've made and what date that happened. Okay, if you can just nod if this is all making sense so far. I know I'm just kind of rambling. Okay, so then I want to show you things that are not so much about people. Oh, no, this is what I want to show you. So say Monica, she's my Success Club lead. Say she and I finally have, are you asking a question or is that a new person? New person. So say Monica becomes a customer. She buys something. I can simply drag her. I'm going to grab her from here and drag her over to my customers tab. So there's no copying, no pasting, but I would just let go and she's now in my customers section. And then I can just add to her file from there. So same thing if she becomes a coach, you just drag her over into your coaches section. And that for me alone, you should see my Google Excel. It's disgusting. Challenge groups is the project that I wanted to show you. So in challenge groups, once you have a project started, you can do up here, you see add section. So you can start to separate all of these tasks out. And so everything is considered a task, which is kind of weird. Like a person is a task. All of these different categories are tasks, but they stay here as these like headings. So I'm going to add a section. So my section might be my April challenge group. And then the task within that April challenge group is who are my participants. So then I open that list and that tells me everybody that's participating in my challenge group. I can track their emails. If you want to track more things about them, I mean, obviously that's your choice, but then I just assign it as my due date. Or I don't assign a due date, I assign it as my project. Because that's not something that I need to check in on every day. It's just a category. It's not a to-do list kind of item. What I do within this project is I track the posts that have been successful. So in the week before my challenge group, I have my preseason posts, things that are like how to log into Beachbody On Demand, how to make your Shakeology so it's not sticky and thick, how to use the Super Gym, how to enter for your free challenge t-shirt, the different goals that you want to set, and meal planning. So things that I need to get out before the group even starts are here. And then different post ideas. I went through every single challenge group I'd been a part of or led myself, which was the time-consuming part and pulled all the posts that anybody interacted with. And so there are things that I can use again in the future when I have new people that aren't repeat customers. So I want to go into like weekends. So post ideas, weekends. If you open that subtask, I've got some words, but more importantly, I've uploaded all of these pictures that are motivational pictures that have to do with the weekend. So if I'm on my mobile phone, which Asana is also mobile, I can just pull up, all right, it's Saturday, I don't know what to post about, I'm gonna go to weekends and I'm gonna post this. So you'd simply save this to your phone rather than having all of this saved to your phone all the time and upload that into your challenge group, which that saved me in itself. So I have pictures saved to 100 different folders. I share a computer with my husband. I also have my laptop. I also have my own computer. I save stuff onto my phone, and I never know which device my stuff is saved on. So by saving it into Asana, I can access it from any of those places. But I know some of you people are Apple, and I know you have like a fixed storage space. And so you run out of space because you've got all your pictures of your kids or whatever, and you can't download anything else. You don't have to have all of these things saved onto your device all the time. It's not like a cloud where everything is everywhere. It's just in Asana on a web platform, and you just download exactly what you need when you need it. So all of these posts are having to do with weekends or treats. I had different recipes that had to do with using Shakeology or using something that's healthy rather than unhealthy. So all of these different categories, you can save multiple pictures and multiple posts. And so the only other thing that I think is a good example of that was my recipes post. So I went through all my challenge groups, and any person that posted a recipe, I copied it. So I can use it for other groups in the future. So people posted these things, and then they posted pictures that they took of their own meals. So I'm not stealing these things from the internet. I'm stealing them from my customers and clients. So you're using actual real life scenarios. And then if they posted what the like fixed containers or hammer and chisel containers were, I can share that with my group. And so then it looks like I have this arsenal of recipes and ideas when really they were all my challengers' ideas. And it was super simple to save. You just literally, within that group, save it into Asana instead of saving it to Google Drive. So, any questions there? I'm just kind of looking at nods and questions. Okay, so my last part and my favorite part is my goals and my affirmations. So a lot of us have been around with Meg since the Miracle Morning. I don't know if any of you are still doing your Miracle Morning. I had a big whiteboard with all my affirmations on it. And if I don't see that whiteboard, I don't remember. Like I have to see things to remember to do them. So out of sight, out of mind. So I've put my major goals when I made my vision board into my section. And then I have a separate one that are my daily affirmations. And I know some of them are duplicated, and that is something that I'm trying to figure out what happened. But I'm going to go into, I hit Success Club 10 every month. That's my affirmation that I say every day. Within this affirmation, I don't have anything about it, but I'm going to go up to my due date, and you can click your due date, but you can also click, oh, let me find one that's not already duplicated. Let's see. I'm going to say make $1,000. We'll do that. So I'm going to go to due date, setting a new due date. Down at the bottom, it says you can add a due time, like if a time of day matters, or set to repeat. So when you click set to repeat, you can have it be whatever time period you want, but I have it one day after completion. So I'm going to check that I did it today, and it's going to show up on my to-do list tomorrow. So no matter what, every single morning I'm seeing my daily affirmations. I have to physically check them off. And if you're one of those people that likes to check things off of lists, this is a way that you can do that, but also say these things out loud, however it is that you need to say your affirmations. So that's one of the, like, Google Docs can't do that. You can't track your customers and have your affirmations in the same spot. So it's super convenient. And then lastly, let's see, I'm looking at my projects. So for like quotes, in my quotes, I have all of these things that at some point I can upload onto my own image. So I'm tracking them in one spot. They're their own task. They're not going to show up on my to-do list, but when I'm going to look for them, they're here in a project. So when you get back to your main view, which up here in the top corner, you'll see my tasks. This again takes me to everything that's due today. So you can see my affirmations are all due today. But again, I'm going to change my view over to tasks by due date. So this is really everything I need to work on now. So this is the stuff that's overdue in red. I see a person, I don't know why I'm supposed to follow up with her because I didn't set a subtask. So I'm going to get into her name and it's going to tell me exactly why I'm following up. And sometimes it's just a check-in. If it's just a check-in, that's why I see just a name. So she's one of my customers. She's in my current challenge group. I know that it's time just to check in with her and see how she's doing. So it's something as simple as that. But then this one specifically, Jessica Wells, if I saw that name, I wouldn't have known what that was. It's to send an email because she was a free lead that I need to follow up with. So this is the view that you're going to see by default. And then, of course, as you're checking things off, you then get to your affirmations. You check off each one for today, and then it's going to immediately show up for your things to do tomorrow, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to, I don't know if I've seen anything pop up in the chat window. I don't see anything. So does anyone have any specific questions on a thing that you track every day that I haven't covered? Or track monthly that I haven't covered?
So I think Kelly Ian asked, she wanted to know if this was linked to your email. So it's like linked to like Gmail.
You know, I get a reminder email every day that says you have 18 tasks in Beachbody. And so I also have like my personal to-do lists and things in here that are not Beachbody related. And I get emails about those as well. So for example, I'm going to take it to the top right corner. You see this thing that says Beachbody. I'm going to click on that. Oh, in my chat window. And it shows you where I've kind of separated things. So if it's something that my husband and I both need to know and we're doing house projects and things, we have a Curreton family folder. And then I have personal projects. So this one, the Curreton family, there's something in it, but I've added my husband to the list. So he also gets an email when we have upcoming tasks. So you can add them. There's these little people over on the left-hand side, these blank spots. You just click on one of them and you're adding a person. So you would add that person's name. You can add that person's email. They, of course, have your email. And then when things are coming up as being due, they send you an email.
That's
so
awesome.
You can go that way if you need that email reminder. I will say that with Asana, the best way to use it is just to log in. Like have that be the first thing you do is log in and see what your to-do list is.
Okay, so if they have, so you have their emails entered in there, can you just click on the email and it goes straight to like a email format? Or do you have to copy and paste the email and put it in like your Gmail or something?
Like, can I send an email from Asana?
Yes.
I feel like you can. I haven't dabbled with that yet. So what I've been doing is just copying and pasting that email address into Gmail. But I do feel like, so like when you're assigning a task to a person, I feel like that once you've assigned it, I think they get notified via email. Like I think Asana does that for you. I don't think you could send like a message email from here.
Yeah, it still makes things easy, though, to have it all right there. Okay, next question. So when you do your power hour, do you just work strictly from Asana? And she may have missed this, but is Facebook linked to Asana? I'm trying to say it right. I say Asana, but I don't know how you say it. So correct. Probably the same thing, right?
Right. Facebook's not linked. So my actual like daily structure, let me pull up another part of my screen. So this is my power of threes. I still use a piece of paper power of threes. And the main reason for that is I'm going to add 10 people to my network today, and maybe only 2 of them add me back. I'm not putting them into Asana until they've added me back. And then
I'm so glad you said that. Sorry.
Yeah, well, and it's something that I mean, so let's come over to the right side of my screen. You can see this is my Google Doc that I was using to track. And so it's just a mess. Like I have a color code, like these are my customers. And this is kind of fun to see like, oh, this is my original 100 list. I've gotten this many people, in my network. That's great. But then I just have like a date. And what the hell was that date? I don't remember. So it's not good for me to go back and look at this. And I take notes, but it just starts to get so crowded and so messy. And nothing within this notifies me to, what does 2-3 mean? Was that the date I talked to her or the date I was supposed to follow up? So that's my own fault for not being more wordy in my stuff, but you try to make these things simple and quick and efficient, and then they backfire because they don't make sense when you get there. Where was I going? So then my added to network, I added all of these people to my network, and I have another document that's even longer. It was like 10% of the people were adding me back, and I was tracking them. And so that's just so much time that's not getting me. It's just wasted money because you're spending your time on things that aren't having conversations. And that was a really tough cookie I had to swallow, of how much time I was wasting on this pretty document that wasn't doing me any good. So now my new thing is, once they've added me back, they go into that new friends project, and then we can start our conversation. I can set a date that I want to start talking to them if we didn't talk immediately when she added me back. So, and putting tags and different things like how you met them is a much easier way to track them.
That's great.
So, so my Power of Threes document, I do all the things. I probably don't do all of these anymore. Like my savers, that can be done in Asana. My, my daily checklist, all of those things can be put into Asana as a daily to-do list. But as far as the people that I'm tracking, the way I use this now is, if people came up into my to-do list for follow-ups, that's what's going into this piece of paper. So I can shut off what I'm shutting off and just focus on those conversations.
Perfect.
So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, one more question. They want to know if it's free or if it costs money.
It is free.
Yay, guys!
I think if you have a certain team size, you can buy like a professional package, but there's nothing I haven't been able to do on the free one. And there's an app for both Android and Apple. I haven't played with the Apple one yet, although I do have a new Apple device I can try. And it syncs immediately. As soon as I update something, it's like, it's kind of like Google Docs in that as soon as you've done it, it's saved. If you don't hit the save button, you're not going to lose all of that work that you did, which is true in a Excel sheet or something. So it's immediately synced to your mobile device.
Awesome. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I feel like I'm going to be spending a day just getting this organized, because you guys know I'm like scatterbrained. So I think that this would definitely keep me back on track. Megan, you gave so many little tips. I was watching everyone's faces. Everyone was just like enthralled with what you were saying. There's a way to just really get yourself organized, guys. And I know sometimes we get so caught up in getting everything done in one day. But if you want to hear from me, I'm going to spend one day, of my work time focused on getting organized with this, because if you can just take a day to really get yourself organized and get those people into this little program, it's going to help you so much. I've already seen from Megan just being organized, so thank you so much, Megan. You did a great job. This is the first time that you've talked to our team, and I was like, gosh, she's not having any issues at all. Like, you did an awesome job.
I have one more little nugget to throw in really fast. Yeah. So, and this might be for something like you. So the team component of Asana, we didn't cover at all. So I have a training project. And in that training project is all of the different, like, so Angie Bellamar talked on our Zoom call. Mm-hmm. I saved everything that I wrote down on paper into that call. So I have literally, it's so ironic that I'm doing an organization call, because on my desk is 4 different notebooks full of notes. Like, I have notes from this leadership thing that Meg hosted, and I have notes from this boss training that she hosted, and I have notes from our weekly Zoom calls. And I think I'm organized, but then when it's time to go find it, I'm like, well, which notebook was that in? I don't know. So all of my training things are here. And when you want to, you can share that. Like, when you're assigning, you can assign that to the entire team. So if you wanted to have, you've got your modules, but most of our coaches don't have their own websites set up with their own trainings yet. If you want to be sharing things with your downline coaches, you can share any of those individual trainings with whoever you choose.
I love that. And you're not alone. I mean, I put things all over the place, and I'm pretty sure I saw everyone hold up notebooks and stuff that they have. And the thing is we're learning so much. There's so much information from the National Wake Up Call and our team calls and Janelle's calls and things that I just post on a daily basis. And I think, guys, if you can just put it into one spot, gosh, that's going to save you so much time and effort, because, there's going to be a time that you want to share that with your team, or you want to use that template or whatever, and you're like, I don't remember where I put it, and then you end up not using it, right? So thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure everyone will be popping on this now, right? Have a wonderful Monday, guys. Definitely get organized, because this is going to make the rest of the year so much better for you. Okay, so I will put this recording up in our team group after, probably by, I'd say tomorrow sometime. And thank you so much.
If you have questions, feel free to message in this as well, and I'll try to answer anything that we didn't cover in the call.
Yeah. All right,
Okay.
bye, guys.
Bye.